Ah, good. You have already made yourself comfortable. I made sure to bring out my favorite blankets to lay out on the floor for you. I know doing this at the table might be more practical, but changing up the perspective of where you are can make an experience feel so much more different, even if it is someplace you always spend time in. My apologies. That might have sounded a bit strange, huh? Well, I know I like to change up where I sit every now and again. It keeps me from getting too far into a routine. Alright, I have some options for you to pick from. I made sure to pick up colors I knew you would like, but I figured I'd pick out some extras just in case you wanted to try something different. I thought I might also try doing something different for once, actually. Though I am almost never seen without my gloves, I always paint my nails black, even when Sherbet does them for me. He prefers to paint his black as well, so I suppose we are both stuck when it comes to trying to step out of our comfort zones. So I decided to go with red this time. I'm still keeping it dark, though. I do not want them to be too flashy, after all. Yes, red is my favorite color. I do not wear it very often, though, outside of my dress pants. It makes me stand out a bit more than I would like, even when I choose a dark hue. But I do find it to be a very beautiful color, especially when it comes to clothes. Do you want to go with that one? You can pick more than one color if you would like to. I do not mind. Oh, I almost forgot to grab the fan. One moment. If I'm being completely honest, I am a bit nervous about this. I know it was my idea, but I'm still a bit anxious. I have a lot of problems with my hands being exposed, you see. I do not like people being able to see them when I want to touch them. I mean, it did take me quite a while to hold your hand without my gloves on. I do not know how to explain it, but I feel as if one's hands can tell a story in a way. Like you can see into someone's history just by looking at them, almost as if their memories are open to be viewed when their hands are showing. I always feel like making contact with anything with my hands uncovered is like leaving traces of my existence behind, and that makes me very uncomfortable for some reason. I've never liked the idea of my presence being known anywhere. I always leave a setting exactly how I found it, even down to the smallest details. I have yet to be able to pick apart why I feel this way, but it has certainly led to some interesting habits of mine. Now I cannot make myself remove my gloves in public. Even being in my own house without them on, like now, makes me uneasy. I just cannot stand the idea of being so locked into reality that I would have some sort of unseen remains to surfaces or items if I were to disappear. I suppose I do not want my life to be remembered. I want to be entirely ignored outside of work. And once I'm gone, I want to be gone for good. Sorry, that was not supposed to come out. I suppose I ramble quite a bit when I'm with you. It is a dangerous habit I'm going to have to work on. The point of that tangent was that it takes a lot of trust for me to show my hands to someone, even more so to have them touched by another person. Having them touched makes me feel vulnerable, so that makes you incredibly special, my dear. Took me about a year to be able to intentionally show my hands to Sherbet after we became well acquainted. After all, I started wearing the gloves around the time I first met him. It made me realize how much it stressed me out to have my hands showing around others. That being said, I am still nervous about doing this, having my hands being held directly for a long period of time. However, I really would like to share these simple intimacies with you, so I will try to swallow this discomfort for now. But I do need a bit to prepare myself, so I want to do your nails first. Is that alright? Good. I promise not to hold your hand too tightly while I'm painting your nails. Let me just lay a paper towel down, then I will start. You know, I do not think I have ever said this, but your hands are very pretty. I really do feel like I can see into your personality a bit. Sorry, I guess I got a bit distracted. It's just holding your hand so gently makes me a little happy. I like how your hand feels in mine. That is not a luxury I've allowed myself given how significant hands are to me. So this is a nice feeling. I do not feel like I am in danger. Anyhow, let me start the first coat. This polish is quite nice. I was not sure what to expect of the quality, but it has a nice consistency. Even the first layer looks fairly opaque. What do you think? Does seeing the color on your nails make you change your mind about which one you picked? Good. Then I will keep going. It is nice being able to do this with someone. Something about painting my own nails feels lonely. I guess that has to do with looking at my own hands, digging through my past. I wonder if simple things like this are things friends do with each other. I guess I would not really know. Sometimes I wonder how much I missed out by not being able to talk to other students while I was in school. Having sleepovers, going to shopping malls, taking walks around quiet neighborhoods, even just talking with each other after school hours by the front entrance. I never really did those things. I spent so much time just in my own world and in my room, not even speaking to my parents. I cannot say I went out of my way to speak to people, though. I never really felt like I was capable. Kids in my classes did not want to go out of their way to speak to me either. I was a very questionable peer to them. While I do not blame them for not approaching me, I do wonder how I would have turned out had more of them talked with me. I was always so on edge, constantly looking like I was trying to get away from something, like I was being followed. I would jerk up and check my surroundings every few minutes, no matter what I was doing. People made a lot of comments about me, calling me weird and saying I made them uncomfortable. But a lot of people seemed afraid of me. I didn't understand at the time how I appeared to others. I just could not see past the invisible wall I had put around myself. I couldn't even recognize that I was making an impression on people because I was so out of it. I suppose that might have to do with how cautious I am about my presence being known now. I was completely unaware of how odd I appeared. My strange little habits were so natural to me. I just noticed I keep referring to such habits in the past tense. I guess I want to think I've gotten better, but I think they are just more subtle now. I do not move around nearly as much as I used to, not as frantic. I do not want my, paranoia to be obvious to others, or else I will appear unguarded. However, there was one person who spoke to me. He was very kind to me, despite what a lot of people said about me without me noticing. He always noticed I was alone, so he sort of invited himself into my personal space. If I'm honest, I was a little irritated with him for it. I never liked getting attention, so suddenly having someone talking to me when I was lost in my own head caught me by surprise, in an unpleasant sort of way. Even so, I did enjoy how friendly he was with me. I had never experienced a true friendship up until that point, and I was a second year in high school by then. He meant a lot to me. I still cannot say for sure what it was about me that got his attention, or why he felt the need to be a part of my day whenever he could. But he was definitely not a part of the majority who thought I should be avoided. Well, not at first, at least. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm still holding your hand. You can put them down to dry if your arms are getting tired. What did I mean by not at first? Well, sorry, I did not think you were really listening that closely. I figured you would tune me out by now. You like listening to me talk? Really? I cannot imagine why. Doesn't it make me look a bit, unstable? I suppose my ramble did make it seem like I was going to lead to an improvement. I'm sorry, but you should not have that much hope for me. I know it just sounds like a tragic tale waiting for a turn of events, but there is no happy end or resolve. I have not reached much of a sense of closure. I am still looking for answers even now. Do I seem calmer when I talk? Perhaps when I let my mind wander too much, I stop thinking about how I appear to you. I'm not sure if that is good, though. Oh, here. Let me adjust the fan for you. But, when I said he was not yet a part of the majority that avoided me, it took a while for him to realize why exactly no one spoke to me. Maybe he was really just that clueless, or he may have just been in denial because it was so strange for someone to act the way I did without reason. He was always the type to argue just for the sake of arguing, so he likely just wanted to prove someone wrong if he could. He stuck around for a while. We studied in the library together, spent time at his house. I even met his mother. We were very close, and that eventually led to something a bit more. I was quite puzzled at first. I mean, why ask someone like me out? Of all people, I couldn't find anyone better. I had never even smiled in front of him at that point. Most he got out of me were some panic attack and depressive episodes, yet he really wanted to be with me. I still question it even now. And it went fairly well for the first few months. Nothing out of the ordinary. Not much changed aside from how close he put himself next to me and the tone of his chat messages, mostly. But once I started spending more time at his house, he started noticing those habits of mine a bit more. He would ask if I was okay a lot, and unfortunately I never had a positive, concrete answer. After a while, he started getting bothered by me. It was my fault, really. I should have known he could only handle so much of my nonsense, but it still hurt. At first, when he would see me looking around his room in the dark, he would just lead me back to bed and get me to fall asleep. If I seemed like I was distracted, he would just tap me and keep talking. If I asked if he could hear or see something that was not there, he just shrugged it off. Once we were together, though, it started freaking him out a bit, to the point where he would ask his mother for advice, which made for some fun conversations between her and me. She even said he thought I was on something. I really appeared so unhinged that he thought I was under the influence of a psychedelic drug or something. She was worried about me. She was always worrying about me. She was more of a mother than my own, if I'm honest. She was always so gentle and open-minded with me. She never sugarcoated her concerns, but she was never judgmental of me. Here, let me start the second coat. Let me see your hands again. I really do miss that woman sometimes. I kept in contact with her for long after Janice stopped speaking with me. After some time, while we were still technically together, he started avoiding me, and eventually his mother caught on and called us to talk with her, the three of us. He had missed my birthday, did not bring me up or make an attempt to talk to me, so she knew something was wrong. She even made something for me. Can you believe that? My boyfriend's mother was more considerate of me than he was. I still wear what she gave to me, too. I'm sure you noticed. I never leave the house without putting it on. I take very good care of it. Definitely my favorite accessory out of all the ones I own. But when she had us sitting next to each other, he seemed so uncomfortable. He was leaning away from me, and he would not look at me. After a lot of pushing, he finally came out and said he was terrified of me. Called me mental. Mind you, he was not the most well-put-together person either, so hearing that from him was quite insulting. So I just walked out. and I have not spoken to him since. But that was when I started becoming more aware of the voices of other students talking about me. People started openly messing with me to get me to panic. They would make tapping noises, whisper, even throw things at me, then hide to bother me. Now, how would people have known about my issues with hallucinations if I never spoke to anyone? Of course, that was Janice's fault as well. He started telling his friends about his experiences with me. Next thing I knew, students were always messing with me. I began lashing out more, losing my temper, and getting more physical with my reactions. I could not help it, really. Being so on edge all the time was already so exhausting. So constantly being provoked just made me lose it. I had been doing so well, too. It had been years since I last had an outburst at school up until that point. And it became a normal occurrence for me to start getting violent with others. But after people saw how quickly I could respond to being harassed, and how strong I was when angered, less people would approach me and just mess with me from a distance. Being so tall sort of helped me. I've only grown about an inch since then. I was pretty tall for a second year, at least in my school, so I had that going for me, I guess. But as I said, I did stay fairly close to Miss Beckett, even after I graduated. Anytime I had any trouble with something, I would go to her. My parents were never any help. They did not believe my issues were real. They thought I was making things up. I almost wish I had been. After I reached a certain point, I immediately put my plan to get away to action. I already had my foot in the door to college before I even graduated high school, so I was ready to get out of the house. My mother was proud of me, as proud as she could be of someone like me. She was happy I had found something I wanted to pursue, and thought being on my own would be good for me. What she did not know, however, was that I did not plan to come back. I did not have many belongings, at least not much that was important to me, so it was pretty easy to get what I wanted to keep to the dorms. I had a car and my license, but I did not have anywhere to go with it, since I could not leave it on campus as first year. So I left it with Miss Beckett for the year, which she gladly allowed me to do. I really had not expected her to assist me in running away from home, but she was surprisingly helpful. She even helped me with rides for a while. All without her son knowing, too. She was quite the role model. Alright, one more code. Sorry, I suppose I really have been talking for a while. I'm sure we would be done a lot sooner if I would keep quiet. Maybe I should try to tone it down for the last round. I'm sure I've long overwhelmed you with information by this point. I apologize. I really haven't been able to tell anyone about this. Not even Sherbet knows all of these details. But that is one good thing that came out of college. I came across Sherbet chilling, as he would say, in an alleyway I would pass on my way to and from the job I had at the time. I never said anything to him at first, but he would always greet me. One evening I had bought some snacks before walking home from work, and I decided to share some with him. He did not have a name at the time, though. That was something I had given to him after a few weeks of talking to him. I'd noticed he really liked cold desserts, so I was bouncing different ideas off him to see what he liked. I ended up with sherbet as opposed to sorbet because sherbet has cream or milk in it, so it tastes a bit different. Sorbet does not have any dairy. It is more refreshing, where sherbet feels more like a dessert. He liked the way the name made him feel, and he liked the way sherbet tasted more, so that was what we went with. Harlan, you let me ramble again. I said I was going to be quiet for this last coat. Why didn't you stop me? Please do not call it cute. It is embarrassing to talk so much about my cat. I was smiling the whole time, and you just let me keep talking? How humiliating. Well, when your last coat dries, I think I will start on my own first one. I know I said I wanted you to paint them, but I still need a bit to prepare myself, so I want to do the first layer. Plus, it would be easier for you to do it once yours have dried. Honestly, you should not let me talk so much. Cannot imagine this enjoyable to listen to. Besides, I've not really said anything good. Everything so far has just been about how painful school was for me. Though I do want to say, while I was absolutely miserable, I understand why people felt the way they did about me. And I certainly do not blame them for it, not even Janice. Although I do not feel like any feelings you have should lead to harassment, no one was in any way obligated to enjoy my presence or be kind to me. Especially the few that have called me a friend. I was a bit of a handful to interact with, even from the perspective of someone who did not know me. I was definitely taxing to be around. Sometimes I feel bad for Janice and Sherbet for ever having gone out of their way to speak to me. I tried so hard not to be so much work to deal with, but that only made my episodes worsen. There were times where I would panic so badly that I would faint. I hyperventilate very easily. Then I was their problem to handle when I was unconscious on the floor. That happened multiple times in front of both Janice and Sherbet, and I'm still humiliated by it now. Thankfully it has not happened in a while, but I've definitely gotten close. I wish I were not like this. I wish I had more control. I wish I was not always on the brink of losing it. Darling, I'm doing it again. Please stop me when I start talking too much. It's not good for either of us. Yes, I know I said I never talk about these kinds of things to people, but I'm better off keeping it all hidden at this point. I already look bad enough in your eyes, taking advantage of your faith in me as a licensed professional. I cannot let myself spill every little detail I have fought so hard to keep hidden just because I trust you so much with my hands, my history. Perhaps keeping my gloves on from now on is best. It seems I let my guard down when I take them off. I suppose you did choose to stay, but that does not mean you have to put up with everything I do. You're allowed to have opinions, dear. Even if you want to listen to me, it will not lead to anything good. I've done a lot of terrible things. Things I'm incredibly ashamed of. I do not want anything to come out accidentally. I'm not ready to explain certain things. Okay, I think I've done enough stalling. Your nails are dry now, yes? So, I suppose I can let you start on mine. My apologies, I suppose I'm still a bit nervous. I do not understand why. I have held your hands before. Perhaps it is because you have to look at them fairly intensely in order to do this. Okay, alright. I can do this. Here. Your hands are a bit chilly. I did not consider how long you would have your hands in front of a fan. I'm sorry. Oh, are my hands shaking? Please try to ignore it. Sorry. I guess that makes it difficult to paint. You intertwined our fingers. What for? I see. You want me to be able to trust you. I do. I promise I do. I just... No. You understand, don't you? That is why you are doing this. You know how difficult this is for me, dear. That is why you want me to be able to rely on you, right? Alright. I will do my best. Okay. I think I'm ready. Your hands are fairly calm, more stable than I would have imagined. I feel safe in your grasp. That is not something I have felt in a long time, if ever at all. I like it. Darling, I love you. I know now is an odd time to say it, but I just felt the urge. I love you so much, truly. Even in the beginning of my first and only other relationship, I felt like I was at risk somehow, like I was vulnerable. There was this constant thought of what if I get betrayed cycling around my head. It tired me out nearly every day. But I've never felt that way with you before. I've always had the feeling that if I were to put my hands in yours, I would be okay. And that is an incredible feeling to experience. I hope you know how much I mean that. I know it can be difficult to trust someone like this, but I really do feel that way. I do not think I'd be able to pour my heart out to you this way if that were not the case. I love you, darling. Well, I say that every chance I get. I've never once said it with the intention of forcing you to say it back, I promise. I do not mind just speaking in your direction while you soak everything in. I will always be here, no matter what, okay? Your problems are mine as well. So, please, feel free to come to me when you need someone. And if you are not comfortable with that, well, that is fine as well. Even if you just want to sit on the couch in complete silence one evening, just being there for each other with no words spoken, I can do that for you. I know I have trouble staying quiet sometimes, but for you, if you so desire, I can give you some less chatty days, as well as some with plenty of communication and bonding. Is that all right with you? Good. I will do my best to please you. Oh, right. The next coat of polish. My apologies. I guess I got a bit distracted. I suppose the first coat does not take very long to dry, huh? I'm sorry I made you wait so long the first time on yours. Oh, I forgot to ask what you thought of this color. Does it make much of a difference to you that my nails are not black? Yes, I suppose it is a bit odd, considering I've not used any interesting colors since high school. Ugh, saying that out loud felt a little strange. I really have been painting my nails for a long time now. Over 10 years, huh? I could not tell you why, though. Perhaps it was my way of accessorizing. I did not own much jewelry back then. I suppose I do not wear much jewelry now, either, despite having a full organizer on my dresser. Do you like jewelry at all? I have thought about buying things for you, but I was afraid you would not like it. I will have to take that into consideration, then. I suppose this is a bit brighter of a color than I'm used to. Strange that it bothers me so much. I used to paint my nails an incredibly bright red when I was younger. But I was younger, and I also painted every other nail black. Well, yes, I guess how old I am should not matter. It is simply fashion. Maybe I should try to step out of my comfort zone more often then. Just saying that made me feel unwell. I could never go back to using such a bright color on my hands. Yes, I know no one but you would see it. Even so. Would you like to paint them a brighter red? I cannot guarantee I would be able to handle doing it myself. Wait, I was kidding. Please do not actually do it. Next time I need to paint them, I might consider reminding you. Do not look so proud. I said I might consider. Well, I would be lying if I said it was not cute to see you excited this way. That might influence my choice a bit. But do not think I would let you do something like that without payment. I should get to do something to you as well. What should I do, I wonder? Now, this definitely might influence the decision I make. Oh, do not take it so seriously. I am only joking. Partly. I would expect something in return for you forcing me out of my comfort zone. I do wonder what clothes I could match this color with. Oh, but that does give me an idea. Perhaps you could let me dress you up. I could put together an ensemble for you that would match your new nails. How does that sound? Nothing too much, right? Oh, are they ready for the last coat? All right. You know, it is interesting. I have never really spoken so casually with someone before. I always feel tense, sometimes even with Sherbet. But I do not feel that way with you. I am able to breathe quite easily when I am in your presence. I am very grateful for that. Well, I know my speech is stiff. However, words come out much more naturally when I'm around you. I do not feel obligated to speak. I really enjoy being able to speak like this, honestly. I never really thought I was missing out on anything, but there is something about being a little vulnerable. I cannot put my finger on what it is, but it brings me comfort somehow. I do not understand why, but it does. I know I said before with him, I had that feeling constantly and it ruined me. This, however, is different. Much different. I have never had this feeling with anyone else. It is so strange. But for once, I want to take advantage of a new foreign feeling I have. So, if we could... Do you think I could talk with you like this again sometime? Really? You do not mind it? That makes me really happy to hear. Thank you, darling. I will do my best not to overwhelm you, all right? I really wanted to intertwine our fingers just now, but I suppose that would not be good, huh? Maybe after we are done here, we can hold hands for a bit and admire each other's work. Yours came out quite nice. I am a little proud of myself. I was worried I would get nervous and it would look messy, but surprisingly, that was not the case. They are fairly clean, and they suit you very well. I am happy with the result. But you did a very good job as well. They look very nice. It is still a little odd seeing such a bright color on my own hands, but I am interested in seeing how I feel about them after they dry completely. I don't know about you, but even an hour after my nails have dried completely, I still feel the need to avoid touching things naturally for some reason. Like I cannot type normally or pick anything up without being extra cautious. It's strange. And I will not put my gloves back on right away either. Are they done? Right. Last round under the fan. I know I said it earlier, but I love you, dear. I'm so happy to be able to spend this time with you. I want you to be happy too. I want you to be comfortable here. I know that is difficult given how I have arranged things, even with the restrictions I've made for myself. However, I still want to do what I can to please you. I love you so much, darling. If there is anything you want from me, I can work on it, I promise. That really surprised me. You seem to be good at that, dear. What do you mean, don't think about it so much? You want things to come naturally. I see. You do not want me to force any development, no. Alright, I understand. I will try not to make too many changes at once. I will treat you as someone who I belong to, but also as a friend. That feels odd saying out loud. I'm not sure if I've ever referred to someone as a friend before, honestly. Sherbet calls me his friend, but I'm not sure if I've said it back to him. I have mixed feelings towards it. Having a significant other is also my friend. I suppose that should be a given, yes. That is how a relationship should be.
Yet it has never occurred to me that should be the case until now. How interesting. But not unpleasant. I... I'm happy to be called your friend. I guess it may be a little late to say that now, given how far we have come, but I'm okay with it. I hope you are too, darling. Now what should we do? Would you like to lie down for a bit? I'm sure you were tired after having to listen to me talk for so long. I'm sorry. I really did not mean to go on for as long as I did. Oh, right. I keep apologizing. You already gave me permission to do so. Okay. I'm okay. It is uncommon for me to not have to make accommodations. It feels nice. Who would have thought something that should be expected in any relationship would be so difficult for me to grasp? I'm very happy. Thank you, dear. Alright, come on. I have had you sitting on the floor for long enough. It was not too uncomfortable, was it? I tried to make it a pleasant space for you. And I will continue to make everything as comfortable as possible. This is your home too, after all. So for now, let us rest a bit. But before you sit down, could you look at me for a second? I just want to see something. As payment for the multiple times you caught me off guard. I suppose that sounds more like a punishment. I could do that too if you were up to it. Kidding, of course. Sort of. I would not tell you in advance if that were the case. I am only teasing. A little. I have to make up for all that time where you had complete control over me. Yes, it was just my hands, but I may as well be holding me in a headlock. All right, I will stop messing with you. For now. Come here.